Hello and welcome. You are watching Step Up Medicine's video series on cardiovascular physiology. In today's episode, we will be taking a look at the cardiac cycle of the heart. Let's go. By the end of this episode, you should be able to describe the phases of the cardiac cycle in order, identify changes in atrial, ventricular, and aortic pressures, understand valve status, heart sounds, and volume changes, interpret the Wiggers diagram, link the phases to the pressure-volume loop.
Each heartbeat is divided into three main phases. First, atrial systole, where the atria contract and top up the ventricles with blood. Then, ventricular systole, where the ventricles contract to pump blood out. Finally, diastole, where both chambers relax and the heart fills passively. This entire cycle is coordinated by electrical signals on the ECG, starting with the P wave, followed by the QRS complex, and ending with the T wave. The Wiggers diagram shows what's happening in the heart over time, from electrical activity to pressure, volume, and sounds. Let's walk through each part of the cycle. Atrial systole, triggered by the P wave. Atrial pressure rises slightly. Blood is pushed into the ventricles. This is the last bit of filling before contraction. This phase ends with the ventricle reaching its maximum volume, called end diastolic volume. There's no heart sound here. Isovolumetric contraction. This starts right after the QRS complex. The ventricles begin to contract, and pressure rises sharply. The mitral and tricuspid valves close, and this closure produces the first heart sound, S1, also known as lub. Because both the inlet and outlet valves are closed, volume doesn't change yet, hence the term isovolumetric. Ventricular ejection. As ventricular pressure exceeds aortic pressure, the aortic valve opens. Blood is ejected from the ventricle, causing ventricular volume to fall. Aortic pressure rises, then gradually falls. This phase ends just after the T wave. Isovolumetric relaxation. Now the ventricles begin to relax. Pressure drops rapidly. The aortic valve closes, creating the second heart sound, S2, the familiar dub. All valves are closed again, and volume stays constant until the next filling phase. Passive ventricular filling. As ventricular pressure falls below atrial pressure, the mitral valve opens. Blood flows in passively. This is the main filling phase. The cycle then repeats with the next atrial contraction.
These phases also match what we see on the pressure-volume loop. During filling, volume increases while pressure stays low. Isovolumetric contraction increases pressure with no change in volume. Ejection decreases volume while pressure peaks and falls. Isovolumetric relaxation reduces pressure at a constant volume. The loop shows us how the heart changes pressure and volume during one full beat. We will be covering pressure-volume loops in further detail in the next episode. Understanding the cardiac cycle helps us make sense of heart sounds and murmurs. Mitral stenosis raises atrial pressure and alters diastolic filling. Aortic regurgitation increases ventricular volume abnormally during diastole. An S3 heart sound may indicate heart failure due to rapid passive filling. An S4 sound comes from a stiff ventricle, often in left ventricular hypertrophy. Systolic and diastolic murmurs correspond to whether the abnormal valve event occurs during contraction or relaxation.
Let's summarize. The cardiac cycle is made up of atrial systole, ventricular systole, and diastole. The Wiggers diagram combines electrical, pressure, and volume changes in one timeline. S1 marks AV valve closure and the start of systole. S2 marks semolina valve closure and the start of diastole. Pressure-volume loops reflect the same phases in a different view, and clinically, this understanding helps localize murmurs and interpret heart sounds.
Now test your knowledge with this quick question. Which event in the cardiac cycle is most closely associated with the first heart sound? S1. A. Opening of the aortic valve. B. Closure of the mitral and tricuspid valves. C. Closure of the aortic and pulmonary valves. D. Opening of the mitral valve. Leave your answers in the comments below.
That's the end of episode 7. In the next episode, we'll explore pressure-volume loops and see how they can help to illustrate the function of the heart. If this helped clarify your basics, like and subscribe for more high-yield videos. Thanks for watching, and keep on stepping up your knowledge.